So this is going to be the very first time I ever decide to rant about something, and I want to make this video mostly, if not completely, about how AI has managed to not only make everyone, to put it bluntly, more stupid than they ever have been, but make people less and less independent. I would like to bring into example that for the past, I want to say about 6 months, my mother has nonstop decided that every single question that she has about any topic at all she's just gonna ask AI about it. She will ask AI if an historical event has happened when she thinks it has, about if the carnivore diet is the most sustainable, if good idea for a business would be a fucking gluten-free shop in a place where that definitely most likely would not work out well. And the thing that annoys me the most about it all is that these are all questions you can ask Google, and yet we're having this wannabe lesser version just popping out of nowhere. Not to mention the fact that now every time you search up a question on Google without asking GPT, right? Without asking that godforsaken fucking thing, I really wish it never came out. Gemini just pops up out of nowhere. It just like wastes your fucking time with like random information that honestly 9 times out of 10 is just plain wrong. I remember asking GPT like some questions pertaining to a show or a season or whatever, and it will give me the most nonsensical bullshit in response to what I asked it. It had absolutely nothing to do with what I said or what I wanted. For example, one time I wanted to do a parody of the Maharaga summoning in Greek, right? I wanted to do that. And I wasn't sure what the whole lines were. I couldn't remember them off the top of my head. And I was like, okay, let me cave into the fucking dumb of using AI for everything. And so I decided to ask it. And I was like, GPT, like, what's the things that Megumi says when he summons Maharaga? And it said absolutely fucking nonsense. I asked it 3 separate times. I was like, no, that's not it. Well, the first time it said something along the lines of, I summon you, Maharaga. And I'm like, that is not at all what he said. That is like that's the essence of what he said without a single word that came out of his mouth. I think that the longer and longer we decide to base everything and anything that we do on intelligence that is not ours, our own ideas will only get stupider and stupider, because our brain is like a muscle and it needs to work to function at the best of its capability. And every time that we decide to ask ChatGPT about some random topic nobody really needs to know from them, instead of just Googling it, I think every time we do that, it just fills our brain with more and more need to be dependent on something. Not to mention the over-romanticization of AI, right? We think it's all sunshine and rainbows, that every time we ask this magical wonderland thing a question, it has absolutely zero reprimands on our society. Aside from the pure psychological fact that we have been using AI now for, I want to say, it's been 2 to 3 years, I'd say, of a lot of people using AI at this point. And I'm not just talking about AI videos. That's a whole nother topic in and of itself. Just to do a quick sub part of this rant, AI videos are going to be the death of evidence that pertains to either a crime or just trying to prove your innocence or trying to show the people what happened. Because I'm not going to say in the future, I'm going to say right now, you can manufacture any piece of news or any quote unquote piece of evidence that you want, and You can use AI for it, make it completely wrong. It's all misinformation. And people will look at it and they will go, I can't believe this happened. This is insane. Insane to think this would happen. And it is insane because it didn't. It didn't. It's made up. I'm not going to talk anymore about the video because I want to talk about more specifically the need to ask artificial intelligence every single question that you think you can't answer by yourself. I want to say that the biggest contributor to this is older people, because they simply do not understand that when you ask ChatGPT a question, it's not just a genie in a bottle that has its own magical powers that answers you. For your dumbass question to be answered that you should have just Googled, again, it's right there. You can use it. Use your brain and come to your own safe conclusions with evidence that you found. That is what your brain can be used for. It's incredible, I know. These older people genuinely believe that ChatGPT is a technological product sent from heaven that will answer any and all questions they have with absolutely zero coincidences happening. That they think that just because they don't have to pay anything, that they have found the best thing ever. And I just want to say, if something is free, you are the product. That is the case. Every time you ask GPT a question, you feed it more personal information about yourself. Every question you ask, every conversation you have with it, every thought you share, that is something that gets fed into this. I want to say it's almost like an Ouroboros eating its own tail, because GPT cannot create anything by itself. Anything you see, quote unquote, created by AI is simply just a reskinned version of something that already exists on the internet. Whenever you ask AI an idea about a business or anything of the sort, it's just going to rip from something that's already there and already exists and just give you a similar version to it, but just different enough that you're not like, wait a second, I know what this thing is talking about. I know what it's saying. Because that's how it keeps you there. That's how it keeps you there. If it simply said something that you already knew, you would be like, oh, well, I don't need this. I already knew that. What am I even asking you for? But that's the correct thing to say. And again, the coincidences that I have been very bad at phrasing, because there is no script for this video. This is my very first. I hope you enjoy it. The coincidences for this is people in America. I am European. I specifically live in the Balkans, so we don't have any AI data centers here yet, from what I know. I'm gonna ask Google, and I definitely am gonna get fucking Gemini pop up out of nowhere without me wanting it. The data centers that are being built in America are not only poisoning and polluting drinkable water. Drinkable, by the way, not just whatever tap water they have there with any diseases in it. No, it needs clean drinking water to operate. The amount of clean drinkable water, and I must reiterate, this is water that you drink, that it poisons, pollutes, and makes it unusable, unconsumable by any human being. It is in the millions of gallons. At this point, I think about 2 to 3 years, I want to say again, after more people have started to use AI almost every day, daily, the consumption of water and also of electricity has skyrocketed in these data centers so much that not only do they keep building it, but they are also ruining the lives of the people around them. Every time a data center is built, not only does it poison and pollute the water for the neighborhood that they are in, but it also makes it so that the people that live there have to pay more for electricity. Because of the increased demand for power in the area, they have to pay more. Basically, when these data centers have all of this electricity being needed to run to create your next slop video of some anime characters having a child and crying over how they're not really the father. Every time you generate one of those videos, an insane amount of resources need to be consumed. And that's not even the end of it. If it wasn't bad enough for both water and electricity being used to such a high level because of this needless creation, you also have the fact that RAM prices have skyrocketed, and all of the graphics card prices have also skyrocketed. The capability of an average person to create their own PC nowadays has decreased so much. The increased cost of all components to create a PC due to data centers eating them all up has been, I want to say, it is one of the lesser worries that we have with these creations, but it is also something that we need to take into account. I am a believer in that the AI bubble will eventually burst. I want to say that it will happen next year. I don't want to be a chud and say nothing ever happens. But what annoys me the most, aside from the boomer parents that every 3 seconds will ask ChatGPT and they will waste another gallon of water for a dumbass question that they could have just come to a conclusion themselves, since they've already lived for 60 years and they know how the world works at that point. They don't need a random robot feeding them recycled information. The thing that pisses me off the most is that you have all of these companies that are just investing and investing and investing into AI nonstop. Just nonstop, every single day, every single time. We want to become an AI first company. I think Gatsu said this in a video, or Geopold, one of the two, that there is nothing that soils a billionaire's pants more than a company that runs itself and doesn't need work. Just literally to press a button and have the company print money. That is what their goal is. They don't want AI for the quote-unquote innovation or creativity that it can bring. They want it just so that they can wake up in the morning, press a button, and just have more money than they previously had. God knows they need more money to fly to the next island where they're going to do unspeakable things to miners. The conclusion that I want to end at is AI is only going to get worse, I think. I think we're going to see the absolute epitome of it this year. I would like to say that it's not going to get worse, but it definitely is. We have not yet seen how deep this rabbit hole can go. And even though I want to say that next year the AI bubble will have burst and people will have realized that it is basically useless and will just become a fad, long forgotten. It will just become a trend. I think that by then the damage will have already been done. Water, we have only 13 years left of clean drinkable water. And it's truly starting to feel like the only thing that can properly fix this is just a full-scale revolution. Other than that, I think people are starting to lose hope in what can happen for the good of humanity. And when all of these companies eventually have to eat shit and become bankrupt because they decided to invest so much money into something that was completely unnecessary, I think that is when they will realize how fucked they are, when so many people turn their backs on them. I'm mostly talking about Microsoft and their needless urge to buy more and more into AI, and so many other companies. I would like to say that justice will come soon, but sometimes you can't wait for justice. You have to make it yourself. But yeah, that's about it. And I want to say that stop using AI, use your brain, make sure to think so that you don't end up having dementia by the time you're 40. And that's about it. I hope you all enjoyed, and leave a comment thinking of what you consider about this topic to be true and false. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.